Okay guys, it's been a while. New setup. I still don't have things completely sorted out. Most of you are probably out there in the summer, now we're really worrying about math. We actually have been working very hard at thinking about how to improve PrepAnywhere. So there's a bunch of new things about PrepAnywhere we're launching in September. And we have a very, quite ambitious goal. And a big part of this ambitious goal is AI. And I am not an AI engineer. And today's video, I want to introduce you to Mike, who is my AI engineer. All right, I'm gonna head out to meet Mike at a Starbucks. The goal here is to tell you the origin story of how me and Mike met and start building AI for PrepAnywhere. I'll see you guys in a bit.
Good, that's good.
All right, finally, nice to meet. Nice to see you in person, Mike.
Yes, it's been first time seeing us.
We'll talk about what you do, what other options there, how you got here with data science in the later episodes. Okay. I think today let's just focus on like how we met. Right? Do you remember?
I don't know when the first time we met it was. I feel like it's grade 10. When I was grade 10.
When you first came to MGO, where was the location?
Where was the location?
Yeah.
Oh, it was still the Finch one, the one right next to Finch Station.
Oh, so you came pretty late.
Yeah,
I used to be at, you know, Paragupa?
Yeah, I saw.
A press store. And I used to be at, before that I used to be at Willowdale.
Oh, there was a before that too.
Yeah. So also you were at the latest new location, which unfortunately we also moved out of. Hopefully there's some B-roll here I can sort of pull out. I did record like goodbye. I was gonna make an episode.
Oh,
but
saying like goodbye to this building.
Yeah, I was actually sad to say goodbye to that place.
Hey, but it's another step, you know.
Yeah. So we're here.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of different stories to tell because we moved out of space.
Yeah.
Right. So, do you remember what you got in grade 9?
When I got in grade 9?
Like roughly, were you a 70 student, 80 student, 90 student?
I think it was like a high 70 or 80, like flat 80.
Oh, okay. So it's not too late if you're getting 70s in grade 9. That's what I was curious about. Like, if you're like a 70 student or 80 student in grade 9, is it too late for you to go into like a data science field, right?
Nah, it's definitely.
And I remember you're always very studious and it looked like you were taking it very seriously. But there was like, when I recommend like, you try this, you try a little bit harder, there was a little bit of pushback. There's a little bit of pushback. Do I really have to do it that much? Which is good, I think, because you're trying to, I can see yourself you have different priorities, like especially like music, right?
True, yeah, back then.
And then you're trying to rearrange it. Does this math really go above music or parallel or if it's below, how many steps below compared to other? Like I could feel you rearranging things. Tell yourself about how serious about your music. Oh, because I know you are very serious. There's a lot of pushback. No, Mr. Lee, I need to do my music. So I was like, hold on, Mike, you're grade 12. You have potential for math. Like let's do a bit more. And then you're like, no, this is my year for music. I remember seeing that like 3 times.
Yeah, I mean...
So talk about your music and what your aspiration for music at that point in your life a little bit.
So I guess throughout entirety of high school, like I really wanted to do music. I took every single, music course that was, I guess the required courses and extra courses if I could.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was practicing frequently, going to like all the bands, all the orchestras here and there. And grade 12 was, I guess, the worst in terms of the conflict I had with math because grade 12 was also the time where, I could kind of showcase my skills with like solos, or I was also like, the head of a band kind of thing. So there was a lot of commitments besides like math and other studies. So yeah, there was a lot of time put into music. So it was a lot of thinking on, or really pushing back, like you said.
Yeah.
Do I really need to study all this math if I'm gonna, be performing for the rest of my life kind of thing?
Right. Oh. Now that you're doing ML, was art like was music a complete waste of time, or is there some kind of in terms of the way you think and put things together, it still helped? Right?
So there is a creative side that you do need, at least with ML, because even now it's not exactly like a very, how do I word this? Like not everything is done in one way. There's a lot of ways to approach these kind of problems. And especially when you're dealing with like neural networks, for example, there's an infinite possibilities of like how you can design the network and just the way you. Yeah, there's a lot of creative things you need to think about, because when you have like when you start from the beginning with like raw data, you have to be creative in the sense of like what do you need to extract exactly that is useful, and something that you might not perceive to be useful might end up being useful for the computer when it learns. So there is a overlap in creativity for sure.
You know what? The big thing is, so when people study math in high school, right? It's something that you memorize the steps, and there's already a predetermined answer, and you work towards just being able to get that answer repeatedly. That's the study of math for like probably most of you watching.
Yeah.
But what you're doing, we actually have no answer. And there could be one answer or like 100 answers.
Exactly.
But out of the 100 answers, definitely some of them are better over others, right? But to me, because I used to do, my other thing was art. I used to draw a lot, right? But if you're dealing with a problem where you could have many solutions, and there are some ways to measure like which one is better over other, that's almost like it's more closer to art. A better way to play the music, right? A better way to present your artwork, like, but you can do it. You can do it 5 or 10 different ways.
I just feel like it's creativity is it's a very subjective thing. So it's hard to tell. Like I feel like for me, if I didn't do music, I would become I would have thought I would become something like a robot in a way, like kind of just following the templates, just going with what I guess I was taught. But I think because of music being so creative, I like to break the rules a little. So I do think it helps. I don't think it's just because of music. It's like I think any sort of arts form or anything that really just requires creativity would have helped in the end. But maybe nothing like you can't really compare music with art. It's like they're both a creative kind of form. So in the end, they do have some sort of benefit.
Yeah. So I was curious about the year that I didn't see you. Because pretty much other than that 1 year.
Yeah.
Other than that 1 year from grade 10 to now, I think I saw you constantly. Right?
At least once a week.
Yeah.
At least once a week. Even in the summer.
Because your story is a bit different. Like, I think you did have that two sides of art and math.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious, how did the process of consolidating, in what way? Because there was always, even when you were younger, I'm telling you to do math. You just won't do it.
Yeah.
Right? So you needed time to process that somehow, right?
It was like during grade 11 where, my parents hit me up with the talk where it's like, listen, do you really, really want to do music? Or is it more like you just like doing it now? But, it's kind of like how some students pursue whatever they're good at. And at least, throughout high school, I really did like music. And because of how much time I put into it, I was good at it. So do I really want to go into it, or am I just like good at it and I like the feeling of being good at that? It's like it was hard to differentiate the two. And the factors of like my parents saying you should probably do music as a side and focus on one of the like doctor, engineer, like one of those kind of jobs first, and then using that, and also understanding like by the end of grade 12 I ended up being really good at math. So I was like, oh.
So what majors did you end up picking exactly?
So in first year I ended up picking mathematical and physical sciences at U of T. So kind of like a broad math program, I would say, and you can choose to specialize later on if you wanted to. But that's what happened not first year, leading to first year. The first year itself was a lot to deal with, I think.
All right, so let's stop here, and then next week we'll meet up again to talk about some, I don't know, whether it's more story about yourself, or actually go a little bit more detail into what you're doing.
Okay.
All right, I'm back in the office. I'm gonna cut it short there. So next week we'll go more into revealing a little bit about what we're doing for PrepAnywhere, and also what the university experience was like for Mike. And Mike actually got into, he's actually a master's student at AI program at Waterloo. So we'll reveal a little bit more about what was the experiences like, and what was his application process like, and maybe even like get to the point where describing how he got into the program. Okay, so we'll end it there. I'll see you guys all next week.